to my channel. My name is Laura, and today I am doing my wrap-up for July. I read 7 books, and one was a manga, one was a graphic novel, 3 of them were YA, no, 4 of them were YA, and one was new adult. So, yeah, I'm just going to share with you my thoughts. I am looking through my journal, which is this. I have a reading journal for the last 3 years. I have 3 different books, and in my reading journal, I include a photo of the book. I write down my rating. I write down what I thought about the book, if I liked the book, if I cried, if I laughed, stuff like that. So it makes it very easy for me to do videos, so I could just grab my book and say, oh, I read that book, and look it up. So anyway, so the first book that I read in July was a YA book. I read it for #PantsAlong. So I read The Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants, and I will put the picture up here, and it's by Anne Brashares. I gave it 4 stars. I really enjoyed the story. However, the reason I dropped it down a star was because the author, when she changed POVs, there's 4 POVs, and every time she changed the POVs, I got confused because I didn't know who was talking. It did not change at the chapter mark. It changed in the middle of the chapter, and that really confused me. And she also put these quotes that had nothing to do with the story. I didn't think the quotes needed to be there at all. So anyway, but besides, the story was really good. As I said, there was 4 girls telling the story. They have these magical pants that they all can fit into, even though they're different sizes. And they're not allowed to wash the pants. They have to wear the pants and tell a story. They're not allowed to pick their nose when they're reading it, wearing the pants. And just very strange things that they can't do wearing the pants. So there are 4 characters. One of them, her name is Carmen. She comes from a divorced family, and she goes this summer. She goes to visit her father, and there is a surprise there. So the second person is Tibby, and she stays home for the summer, and she gets a job at a department store, and she meets a little girl. She's 12. She meets a little girl, a 12-year-old, in the store. So I don't want to tell you anything else. And then Lena is the girl that goes to Greece to visit her grandparents, and she falls in love with this guy there. And the last person is Bridget. She is a very athletic, and she goes to a soccer camp for the summer. So each story was very interesting, but I related to Carmen and Tibby the most. I also watched the movie, and the movie was really, really good. They did change Lena's story in the movie. Lena had more of a love story in the movie than she did in the book. So, yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting that they changed her story. But I did enjoy the movie as well. And, again, I gave the book 4 stars. The next book that I read was Confess by Colleen Hoover. I'll put the picture here. This book was told by two point of view, sorry. And I really enjoyed this one. I gave it 5 stars. This one is about a guy named Owen. He is an artist, and Auburn, and she is a beautician, and they both have tragic pasts that they had to recover from. And the struggle throughout the book is they find love together, and there is a plot twist, because Colleen Hoover always has a plot twist, and I really enjoyed the book, and I gave it 5 stars. Okay, so now on to my manga read. And I actually finished Confess during Booktubeathon. I had 50 pages left, so I started that one and finished it during Booktubeathon. So the manga that I read during Booktubeathon was Yosuba Subadado. I don't even know how to say the name. I'll put the picture here. This one is really cute. It's funny. It's about a 5-year-old who attends kindergarten, and she just makes you laugh. And it wasn't as good as the first book. So I did drop it down a star. So I gave it 4 stars, but it still was good, and I still want to continue on. So that's that one. And the next book that I read during Booktubeathon was Sweet Tooth, Out of the Deep Woods. I'll put the picture here. And I gave this one 4 stars. This one is very violent and very mature content. I did enjoy it, but yeah. It's about a boy who is a mutant, and he has deer parts. So he has horns coming out of his head. And his father tells him that the world has a disease and you can't leave the house and you can't leave the forest. And somehow his dad dies and he leaves the forest and lots of chaos happens. But I'm telling you, this one was a little violent and very mature content. But I did enjoy it, so I did give it 4 stars. And I did buy the second book from Book Outlet. It already came, and I didn't do an unboxing, but it did come in the mail. So, yes, I still want to continue on. So that one I read for Booktubeathon. And the next book that I read for Booktubeathon was the second summer of the Sisterhood. And this one is for Pants Along that I was reading. And in my notes, I have lots of thoughts on this book. As you can see, there's lots of thoughts here. But I did drop it down to 3 stars. I found that I went to audio for this book because I had to catch up. And I found it was a little boring and a little unrealistic. Still, there's quotes in between each chapter, which I felt still did not belong in the book. And the point of views still drove me crazy. It switched point of views within the chapter. Yeah. So anyway, but the story was okay. I would say okay, 3 stars. So another thing that was really bothering me with this book was the Bridget story. She somehow has a grandmother, and she goes to visit the grandmother, but she doesn't tell the grandmother who she is, and the grandmother just lets her in like a stranger because she didn't know who she was, and she lets her in the house and lets her sleep there, and I thought that was really unrealistic. So yeah. So yeah, that's why I gave it 3 stars. And everybody else was like it was being annoying. It was very annoying, the book. I don't know. Maybe I'm just too old to read these books. I don't know. But I did enjoy the first book. So, moving on, I read the 3rd book, which is Girls in Pants, also on audio, and the girls did mature a lot more in the third book, but I did still give it 3 stars. I think it was okay. It's nothing to be that I really liked. So yeah. And again, the book was a little unrealistic. Carmen's mom has the baby, and the father, I don't want to tell you anymore. So anyway, the 3rd book was okay. So I gave it 3 stars. I am supposed to continue with the 4th book, but I didn't get to it. So I don't know, because it's really just an okay book. It's not like pulling me to read it. So I don't know if I will continue on. We'll see. Okay, so yesterday I picked up a book that I had out from the library, and I had to return it, which was due today, and I actually read it in 2 days. So this book was really amazing. It's called, if I could read it, it's called Chasing Yesterday, and I'll put the picture here. It is book 1 of a series. It's only 200 pages long. It's about a woman, well, actually, it's about a girl. She's 13 years old, and she wakes up in the hospital and she doesn't know who she is. And of course, you know how I love to read about memory loss, so this book really intrigued me. I think that this one is a middle grade book, but I'm not quite sure. I don't know if it's YA or middle grade. But I really, really enjoyed it. So she doesn't have any memory. They take her and put her in a juvenile home, and then she gets bullied there, and her memory starts coming back a little by little. And I just say, don't trust anybody. And this book leaves on a cliffhanger. So I was like, I immediately went to the library and I requested the second book, but it's coming from another library, so I can't wait to get it because I want to know what's going to happen. Like, what happened? How did she was in an explosion, and how did she get to that place and with the explosion? So I don't know anything. It just like ended the book, and I'm like, oh my God, I didn't get anything. There was no resolution, so I need book 2. So yeah, so I have to get that book 2. So hopefully in the month of August, I will get book 2 and read that. So that's it for the month. I was really on a reading slump. I got the Sisterhoods of the Traveling Pants, but I didn't really enjoy it. So I'm hoping that August is better. So we'll see. So thank you for watching, and I will see you in another video. Bye.